Buenas tardes or buenos días. Me llamo Señor Arthurton. I'm Eric Arthurton. I'll be helping you with your Spanish 1, Unit 1, Week 3. So we should be about day 10 or 11 at this point. So because we are in Week 3, we're almost at the end of the unit. Now is the time to talk about unit testing and how that will work. Remember, it's will be available in Canvas only. It'll be next week, lunes a viernes. It happens that this year we have just Monday through Friday is testing. So all 5 days of testing. Monday will be day 0, and then Friday will be day 4 on the end of the testing window. Make sure that you communicate with your classroom teacher if you attend the Spanish classroom, so that you know when what days they will be testing, and you can get that done. Or if you're an independent study student, make sure that you speak with your facilitator and that you know when you can come in and take your test. But they will always be in Canvas, and the testing window will always match the Excelsior calendar. The Unit 2 work was available after Unit 1 or at the end of Unit 1. Make sure also to get your Duolingo progress shared. You not only have to have an account in Duolingo, but you should also share this with whoever manages your grades. So a classroom teacher, you'll want to ask if you have not shared the progress yet, and you will know because you would have done it. If you're not sure, that means you probably didn't do it yet. So make sure you contact your teacher with the code and instructions on how to set that up. You also can find details in Canvas. You'll want to get at least 100 XP, which is very easy to do in Duolingo. You'll need at least 100 XP for your Unit 1. Please email me or your teacher with questions if you're not sure, or you can see the teacher in class if you attend class. Okay, so for this week, what are we working on? Los días de la semana, the days of the week. These are the days of the week in Spanish. Let's start with Monday. In Spanish, the days of the week, we start with Monday in Spanish. On the calendar, in Spanish-speaking countries, on the left, it starts with lunes, Monday. Monday. Okay, in a lot of American calendars, you'll see Sunday as the first day, but actually in Spanish, many Spanish-speaking countries, they'll start with Monday. So lunes goes first, is Monday. Lunes. And as you study these, then you can, as we go over these, repeat them and learn them. And so here they are all together. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. That's Monday through Sunday in Spanish. Very good to know if you want to schedule an appointment with somebody, if you want to ask about when something happened, if you want to meet with somebody somewhere and get a date to meet them and those kind of things, or some kind of business arrangement, you're going to want to know the days of the week and be able to express that in Spanish. And this goes along with telling the time as well. Okay, so lunes is Monday. And by the way, all the days of the week are masculine in Spanish. They're all masculine. El lunes, el martes, etc. All of them are masculine. As well as the months of the year are also masculine. And the words month and day are masculine in Spanish, so that's why they're masculine. And there's some things about time are feminine. So the hour, by the way, hour, when you tell time, is actually feminine. So 1 o'clock would be es la una, right? It's 1 o'clock. And so some things you're going to see as are masculine and feminine. You just have to learn which they are. Okay, so in this case we have days of the week that are masculine. They're also named after celestial bodies. They tend to be named after that, like the moon, or the sun, or Saturn, Jupiter, things like that. Now, in Spanish, no day is named after the sun, but it used to be, and we'll talk about that later too. So lunes, we start with first. Lunes, of course, is named after the moon, just like it is in English. We have Monday is actually Moon Day. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but that's where it comes from. That's where the word Monday comes from. And in Spanish, luna means the moon. So lunes is the day of the moon. That's day dedicated to the moon. And a lot of times it's like a god or goddess, right, that managed that celestial body, right? That's where this comes from. Martes, you might start to look at these words and you'll be able to see which they are, and most of them are planets. So Martes is actually named after Mars. Okay, Marte is the planet Mars, Marte, and Martes is the day Tuesday, and it's named after Mars. It's named for Mars. Miércoles, you could probably guess it's Mercury, right? It's named after Mercury. Miércoles in Spanish, miércoles. Jueves, it might be a little bit tougher, but the answer would be Jupiter. So Jueves is named after Jupiter. It might be more familiar if you remember that Jupiter, another word for Jupiter, the god Jupiter, the Roman god Jupiter, another word for him was Jove, G-O-V-E, Jove. All right, or you might have heard the expression "by Jove." That is Jupiter. So Jueves is Jove's day, or Jupiter. Viernes is, of course, Venus. It's named after Venus. Viernes. Sábado is the Sabbath. It's actually comes from Hebrew, and it refers to the Jewish Sabbath day. Okay, sábado, sábado. And then the last one is domingo, which is, of course, Sunday. Domingo. Now, long time ago, that day in Latin, the Romans named that the last day after the sun, right, the sun god, and it was called Dies Solis in Latin. But as the Roman Empire became Christianized, right, you had a change in the name of that day, so they no longer named it after the sun, but named it after the Lord, right, which would be Jesus. So Domingo is from the word for the Lord's Day. All right, so that's why it's called Domingo. You have words like Dominican and things like that. Domingo, that's the Lord's Day. So the day of the Lord is Sunday. So that's the current modern word in Spanish that we use. So Domingo. So that's your 7 days of the week and where they come from. Again, they're all masculine, and also they're not capitalized. They're not capitalized. We capitalize the days and the months in English, but they are not capitalized in Spanish. Now, in this example, in this image, you see them, they're just all caps. That's so that you can clearly see the letters, but they're not necessarily, they're not capitalized in normal Spanish when you write them. Now, we were talking about the days of the week. We saw some of those letters and pronunciations. Along with that, we'll also look at the letters themselves in Spanish. We'll make sure we don't forget this. So this is your alphabet. This is how it looks in Canvas. Please make sure to play the audio anytime so that you can listen to the sounds of these letters. This is how you spell in Spanish, right? So the letters A, B, C, obviously you can tell that they're very similar. It's almost the same alphabet, but the letters themselves have different names in Spanish. So I will say them for you, but please use the tools in Canvas to play the audio for yourself as well. So here it is. I'll just say it fairly slowly, and then I'll just go through the letters, and I'll talk a little more about these. So I'll just start at the beginning and go just like we would do in English for the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, Ñ, O, P, Q, R, R, S, T, U, B or V, W or W, X, Y or Y, Z. Okay, so those are the letters we're going to use to spell things out. Think about spelling your own name in Spanish. Okay, me llamo Eric. Mi nombre es Eric. Right, my name is Eric. So to say how my name is spelled, I would say E, R, I, C. You might want to experiment, try it out with your own name. How would you spell your own name? Now, there's some things we should keep in mind for the letters in Spanish and see where the big differences are. All right, there's a big difference in the pronunciation, especially of vowels. Right, so the letter A is actually pronounced the first letter of the alphabet. All right, it's not A. That is a different letter in Spanish. So it goes and then look at the next vowel, A. All right, so it can be confusing, and it really depends on what alphabet you're talking about, what language we're talking about. And then A, then E. Right, E is the next vowel. It's the letter I in English, but it's pronounced E. E. All right. The next vowel is O. O. So it's very close to English. And then the last one is actually U. All right. We don't say you, right? You say U. U. Just by itself. U. Another big difference in between English and Spanish is pronunciation of the V and the B. In Spanish, usually these are pronounced the same way. They're pronounced the same way. So you can have the word vaca, right? Sounds like a B, but it is a V. Vaca. It means cow. All right. So when Spanish speakers want to say a V and they mean the one after U, right? They would say be de vaca, right? The V of the word cow, right? Because it starts with the letter V. If they want to say a B, they would say be de burro. Burro is donkey, B-U-R-R-O, burro, B-U-R-R-O, and that is the other B. That's right after A. So be de burro, be de vaca. Otherwise, they sound the same. Now, people also say V for the letter V, which is fine because it makes a difference between that and the letter B because they'll be pronounced the same. So it can be confusing. The letter W around in this area and Southern California and the Southwest, a lot of Spanish speakers use W for W instead of W, but a lot of Spanish speakers around the world use either one. You just have to see which one they use, but it's double V or W. It's the same letter. And the last couple of things is that there are a couple letters that are different that Spanish has and English does not have. For example, Ñ. The Ñ is different. Right? It's like an NY sound, like canyon. Okay, in English. Okay, we use two letters in English, and in Spanish you use one. And then the R, the double R, R. Okay, it's a trilled R. and you just have to practice it, and you'll get it. It's just using your muscles and your mouth and your tongue, and if you practice it, you'll get it. So R, R, and it's not just ere. Okay, the one R in the linguistics, we call it a flap. It's just like the two T's in the word little in English. Okay, little. All right, that's the R in Spanish, but it's not the double R, which is R. Okay, it's a trill. And also you'll hear the double R if a word starts with the letter R in Spanish. So, for example, roto, ratón. And the last thing is the double L. The double L has been taken out of the Spanish alphabet officially, but it's pronounced like a Y sound, like me llamo, me llamo. Okay, some people say me llamo. It kind of emphasizes that double L a little bit more, me llamo or me llamo. Okay, so that's how that works. The Z, the letter Z in Spanish is always pronounced like an S. Always pronounced like an S. Zeta, zeta. So maíz, razón. Okay, zeta is always pronounced like an S. And in the dialogue here we have ¿Cómo se escribe libro? How do you spell the word libro or book? And they answer each other, right? Se escribe, right? You write, right? It is written. Se escribe, L-I-B-R-O, right? It's the spelling of the word libro in Spanish. So try to experiment with your own name and see how you do with that. Okay, el tiempo. El tiempo. El tiempo, this is how to talk about the weather. El tiempo, it can mean time. It can also mean weather in Spanish. So how to talk about the weather. In Spanish, you're going to use hace, which is from hacer. It means to do or to make. And you're going to generally combine it with an expression, a word that helps describe the weather. Okay, so first of all, we can have a sunny day, which would be hace sol. Hace sol. All right, it's sunny out. That's how you express that in Spanish. Hace calor. It's hot. It means it's a hot day. All right, it's a high temperature day. Hace calor. And you could emphasize with words like mucho. Hace mucho calor. It is very hot. Or frío. It's cold. Hace frío. All right, we have words in English like frigid, right? Or refrigerator. Hace frío. It's cold. Hace mucho frío. We also have viento. Hace viento. It's windy. It makes wind. Okay, so hace, and these are just some expressions. Hace sol, hace calor, hace frío, hace viento. That's just how Spanish expresses the weather. It's very important that you understand that. Use hace and a noun, hace. Now, there's a couple words in Spanish, a couple expressions that do not use hace because of the nature of the word. For example, when it's raining. When it's raining in Spanish, you say llueve, llueve. It's actually a verb. Okay, it's to rain, right? Llover, L-L-O-V-E-R, llover. It would be spelled L-L-O-B-E-R, right? Llover, llover, llueve. It's raining. Llueve, it's raining. And nieva, nieva is from nevar, to snow. Nieva is, it's snowing. You know the words nevada, right? Nevada actually means snowy or snow laden. All right, La Sierra Nevada it's a mountain range, right? In California, La Sierra Nevada. I think it just extends beyond California as well. But La Sierra Nevada is a snowy mountain range. Okay, so then we have that word nevar, nevada, nieva. It's related to that too. It is snowing. It snows. nieva. So we have llueve, nieva. Those two are verbs in themselves, so they do not use hace, but use hace for most other expressions of the weather. Okay, now talking about the weather, we have seasons, right? These are las estaciones. Las estaciones. Now, that word looks a lot like stations, right? The stations, which is true. They're the stations of the year, right? Every year goes through these stations, so to speak, las estaciones. So, first off, of course, is la primavera. Primavera, spring. La primavera. You can think of like prima as first, right? It's the first time plants are blossoming and things like that, right? Things are growing again in the spring. So primavera, la primavera. Okay, it's feminine. You'll see spring is feminine, but all the other seasons are masculine. El verano, of course, after spring we have summer. El verano, el verano. Then after that we have autumn or fall, which is el otoño. Otoño. So autumn, the word autumn in English is actually very similar to otoño. It has the same root. Okay, a lot of English came from French, and in French, the word autumn was actually borrowed from French, right? So autumn came into the English language through French. All right, so you have el otoño, and then the last word is el invierno. El invierno, which is of course winter. This is actually similar to the words hibernate or hibernation. Okay, if you add an H on there, and the V is like a B in English, right? Or V is like a B in Spanish, so hibernation. Invierno, right? Invierno is the winter. So that's how you express the seasons, how you talk about the seasons. So we can say, for example, certain weather patterns happen in the seasons, right? En la primavera llueve mucho, right? It rains a lot in the spring. O en el verano hace mucho calor. In summer it's very hot. En el otoño hace mucho viento. It's windy in the fall. En otoño hace un poco frío, right? It's a little cold. En el invierno hace mucho frío. It's very cold in the winter, etc. Okay? And the last thing for this week is the months of the year. Months of the year, as I've said, are masculine in Spanish. El enero, febrero, etc. You'll recognize these names in Spanish pretty easily, right? So these names are very close to English and easy to learn, and they're spelled and pronounced a little differently. Los meses del año, the months of the year. We start with enero. Is January. Enero. Now that's the one that's the most different. And so once you get that one, you're fine. You're good to go. Enero. Okay, enero. And as you learn these, make sure you're repeating them. Make sure you get the pronunciation okay. En enero. Enero. Okay. Enero. El enero. Febrero. Febrero. That's February, of course. Marzo. And there's that Z. Remember, it's pronounced like an S. So we have marzo, abril, that's April, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. And that's your months of the year. They are all masculine. And now you can talk about the dates, right? The dates and how to express the day. Okay, so you could have a ver. So let's talk about today's date. Today is Monday, the 17th of September. All right, that just happens to be this day right now as I'm making this video. So it would be Monday, which is lunes, the 17th. El 17 de of septiembre. Hoy es lunes, el 17 de septiembre. Right? Monday, September 17th. And that's how that works. Mañana es martes. Martes 18 de septiembre. It's the 18th of September. Okay? Now, you might think about, what's your birthday? Right? Mi cumpleaños, my birthday. Mi cumpleaños. Mi cumpleaños es, my birthday is. What's your birthday? Think about how you would say that in Spanish. What date is it? All right, so you need the number and you need the month. Let's say your birthday is October 1st. It would be el primero de octubre. Now, the first is just primero, but everything else is just the number. El dos, let's say your birthday is on October 2nd. So you say, el dos, mi cumpleaños es el dos de octubre, October 2nd. But the first, if you're talking about the first of the month, it's always going to be primero, but everything else is just the number. El tres, el cuatro, el cinco. We have May 5th, right? El cinco de mayo. A lot of you have seen that around. El cinco de mayo. La Navidad es el 25 de diciembre, right? Christmas is on December 25th. El 25 de septiembre. So you see how you just use the number. Use them for everything except the first day, which is el primero. Okay, so just as a quick review, we talked about the alphabet, how to pronounce these letters. We also talked about the days of the week, how to talk about those days of the week. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. All right, they're all masculine, and you don't capitalize them. We also saw the months of the year here. Okay, enero, febrero, marzo, abril, etc. Okay, and so going out from the months, we have the seasons, which are called las estaciones, right? Because they're stations of the year. The year goes through stations every year, right? You have seasons. Primavera, la primavera, spring. Primavera is the only season that's feminine. Okay, el verano, el otoño, el invierno are your other three seasons: summer, fall, and winter. Our summer, autumn, and winter. Verano, otoño, invierno. And that's about it. Oh, we also talked about the weather, right? How do you express weather? Hace, right? Hace with an expression like with a noun, right? Hace sol, hace calor, hace frío, hace viento. You can also say llueve and nieva. It's raining and snowing. Of course, there's many other words. There's many other weather expressions, and we'll get to those as well. But that's some basic ones for you. And remember, testing is next week. So make sure you're talking to your Spanish teachers. You're talking to your facilitator on your test, and get that done. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos.